Hello my friends, this is Lionel Anderson here with you guys with a brand new YouTube BitChute video. And in today's video, we're going to make it a brief one, but I just felt I really needed to address all these conspiracies going around right now about Jim Carrey. That's right. Old Jim Carrey just had accepting a Lifetime Achievement Award in Paris. He hasn't really been out in a few years in the public eye, and people are thinking, since he's looking a little bit different, that he must be a clone. That's not Jim Carrey, they're saying. It's got to be a clone. So we're going to be looking at that today. Is Jim Carrey a clone? Or could there be a much more logical explanation for his change in appearance? Okay? We're going to be looking at the facts here. Alright, my friends? So let's just get right to it. Okay, I'm just going to encourage you guys to hit that subscribe button if you enjoyed today's video. As I say, subscribe to survive, and also smash the like button so my videos will pop up in your feed because I'm heavily shadow banned. Alright, so let's just get into it. Now, I wanted to start the video off just showing you the video of Jim Carrey, just so you could see what we're dealing with here, because a lot of people haven't seen the footage. Okay, so take a look.
I took on a pretty big challenge trying to do my speech in French. So, I wrote it and I researched it and I practiced it like crazy. But, it's...
All right. So there you guys have it. So many people are saying, that's not Jim Carrey. Like, I'm so surprised. Like, my Facebook feed is just filled. Like, that's all I'm seeing. And I should say almost every single person. There's a few people who have a bit of common sense, but almost every single person are all saying it's not him. They're saying that it's a clone or maybe a body double, but they're all saying he's been replaced. My friends, it's very easy. Like, if you just use a little bit of common sense here, okay? And I'm not trying to be jerky or anything like that to people here. Like, I'm sure many of my viewers are falling for that narrative. I'm not trying to insult anybody, but people need to have a wake-up call here, because it's very important people use common sense nowadays. What I'm seeing play out is what I believe mass formation psychosis, because there's a very logical explanation to why he looks that way, okay? And that is, you want to hear the truth? He's getting older, and he got Botox or plastic surgery done. It's painfully obvious that's all it is. Okay, I have a video that kind of explains some of the changes and how many plastic surgeons are confirming that's exactly what it is. So take a look.
Why do Jim Carrey look like two completely different people? Almost no one realizes that his face has undergone 3 astonishing changes. Just recently, he attended the César Awards in France and received an honorary award. But what's more captivating than the award itself is why his face looks completely different from how it used to. First, the muscle structure when he smiles seems to have changed. Facial wrinkles and sagging have decreased, and his cheekbones are more prominent. While he looks younger, his face also appears somewhat puffy and unnatural. Second, he can hardly make his signature exaggerated expressions anymore. Once known for his rich facial expressions, he now appears more restrained in public, and his facial movements seem to have undergone an irreversible change. Finally, his skin condition has also sparked discussion. Compared to his earlier natural skin tone, his skin is now smoother and more even, leading to speculation about whether he relies on intensive skincare or beauty treatments.
There you guys have it, alright? So he talked a little bit about the changes he's been going through. Plastic surgeons confirm that's what's going on here. Okay? He's getting older, so he got plastic surgery done. I want to show you some pictures now of people who've gotten plastic surgery. Common theme for these celebrities, and not just celebrities, people in day-to-day life. As they get older, their body changes. I know that's hard for some people to believe. It happens to actors and celebrities too. They get old. And some people get insecure about it. They don't like it. So they get lots of Botox, plastic surgery. Sometimes they take it too far and they look different. Doesn't mean they've been replaced. Doesn't mean they've been cloned. It's just common sense. It's plastic surgery. But yet hardly anybody has common sense anymore, especially in the conspiracy community, the truther community. people see one little clip and they jump to extreme conclusions, okay? When the evidence, like, there's no evidence to support that he's a clone. A lot of people are saying, oh, but his eyes are a different color. As you could see there, well, yeah, he usually had brown eyes, they say, but now he has green eyes. So it must be that he's a clone. It can't be him. Well, my friends, let me tell you a little something. When they're on the red carpet like that, there's lots of lighting, okay? And when lots of light, and when with the camera angle as well, and the way cameras work, sometimes it changes the colors of the eyes. Doesn't mean he's a clone. Doesn't mean he's somebody else. And the evidence of this is, if you would have watched anything more than that viral clip that's going around, like his speech that he actually did, or any of the other pictures, well, take a look. Take a look at his eyes. They're brown. His actual eye color. So there goes that theory about the eye color change. It's just the lighting and the camera. Not a clone. No evidence to support that theory at all. But a lot of people are saying, oh, but Lionel, he's not acting the same way. He's not doing the same facial expressions and the facial movements, and he doesn't have as much energy, and he's just acting weird. Well, when it comes to the facial movements, plastic surgery, Botox, guess what? He can't do his facial movements. It makes your face extremely stiff and like that. Anybody who's had plastic surgery or who knows people who have plastic surgery and have gotten this work done knows that's what it does to the face. And to explain his energy levels and the way he's acting, my friends, he's older now. He's 64 years old. He's getting to be an older man. Okay? And it's been years since he's made an appearance. People can change and be a little bit more relaxed and calm, especially when you're just looking at one little clip. I've seen other clips where he's got a lot more energy and acting like the old Jim.
Now I'm closer. Can you sit here? Now what are you going to do? Now what are you doing? Jim, you got the golden shot right there.
There you go, my friends. All right? Another thing that people are saying is, he said he was dead in the interview or something. He said, I'm dead.
I'm dead.
And they only show a little clip where he says, oh, I'm dead, okay? But they didn't see the whole thing in the context he was speaking about. He was speaking about how he was in France, everybody else was giving their speech in French, and he was practicing his French, and his French isn't good, and he thought before he went up, oh, I'm dead, as in, like, I'm not going to be able to speak the French.
Oh, it's a wonderful feeling. I really took on a pretty big challenge trying to do my speech in French. So, I wrote it and I researched it and I practiced it like crazy. But, it's, then I watched everybody like talking 1,000 miles an hour up there, receiving their awards. And I was like, I'm dead.
Context matters. Don't take a little clip out of context and then be like, oh, see, he's saying he's dead. No. Watch the whole clip. Have some common sense. Once again. Oh, facepalm. Anyways, so it's just really concerning to me. Like, I first started seeing people post this, I wasn't going to make a video on it, but as the day went on, I just kept seeing more and more and more. And I was expecting to see more people in the comment section state the obvious. That's just plastic surgery. But I'm just blown away by the percentage of people who automatically jump to these extreme conclusions. And the term conspiracy theorist was coined by the CIA way back in the day. And they say they made up that name to make people who are speaking the truth, seem bad, so they could just be called conspiracy theorist, right? And maybe that was the case, but do you know what? When bullshit like this starts going around, I think people, rightfully so, should be considered conspiracy theorists. They're not real truthers. No, they're just simply not using common sense. They're not taking time to dissect the clips, and notice how his eyes were brown, the other things. They just jump to extreme conclusions, and they just come up with stuff that's just not logical at all. So I think conspiracy theorist is a very good title for people who push this kind of stuff. Okay? And I think a lot of this comes down to the government or the powers that be themselves running these kind of psyops. I think if it wasn't for that QAnon crap that got pushed back when it began, when Trump first got in, I don't know how many people would be believing this stuff. I think a lot of people believe this clone nonsense because of QAnon. And of course, QAnon, it came out in the Epstein files that Epstein himself was meeting with the founder of 4chan, where the QAnon stuff first came out on. Okay? And this was right before the Q stuff started. Epstein is meeting with the founder. Not only that, when 4chan got hacked a while ago, and they found their servers being originated in Israel. Okay? My friends, Q is nothing more than a government, Mossad, CIA psychological operation. They put out so much nonsense to get people who are starting to question things to put their faith back into government, okay, to support Trump, thinking Trump is going to save us when it's the complete opposite, and also to discredit people who are actually doing good work and who are actually putting out the truth. Now you got a bunch of people running around saying, oh, this person's a clone, that person's been executed in Guantanamo Bay, and pushing out all this nonsense. Trump is coming to save everybody, the military's in control, all this stuff, okay? The arrests are coming. Meanwhile, nothing's ever happened, no arrests have come. And people look at these kind of people and view them as conspiracy nutjobs, because what they are pushing out there is absolutely insane, with zero evidence, zero credible evidence. Okay, so people who haven't woken up yet, and people try to talk to them like, oh yeah, but did you hear this and that, and the rest are coming, and blah blah blah, this person's a clone, that person's a clone, they've been executed. They think you're insane. Okay, and that pushes other people who we need to try and awaken about what's going on in the world. It pushes them further away, because when you actually try to talk about with something that is real, that we can prove with facts, they just think, oh, you're one of those Q-tards. So it's really hurt the real truth movement and the real things that are happening out there. It's affected real truth from getting out, because people just lump you in with the Q-tards. And you've seen with these Epstein drops, a lot of people pushing, oh, but Lionel, they've confirmed in the Epstein files that Biden was a clone and everything. We saw it in an email to Jeffrey Epstein where they're talking about that, okay? Now, again, this is where people don't do proper research, because although that did exist, an email within the Epstein files that spoke about Biden being a clone and all this kind of stuff and about Q stuff, it doesn't mean anything. It was a forwarded email. It wasn't an email directly to Jeffrey Epstein. It was a chain email that was sent to tons of people, okay? And someone ended up forwarding it to Epstein. And it was just a Q-tard who was pushing the usual Q crap, okay? But it's not confirmation. Like, just because it's in the Epstein files and Epstein had an email that talked about that, doesn't mean it's real. So many people are acting like, oh, that's it. It's been confirmed in the Epstein files. It was a chain message that wasn't even originally sent to him that somebody forwarded to his email. Probably someone who is connected to the whole Mossad operation. They're probably saying to Epstein, saying, ha ha, look at our psyop is working. That's probably all it was, because who's Q? Very possible now, with what we've learned, Epstein meeting with 4chan before Q comes around, Epstein is probably Q. There's your Q. Or aspects of the Mossad intelligence agencies, okay, to dupe truthers who are actually just become straight up conspiracy theorists to discredit the real truth movement, okay? And now look, it's worked. Now you got timelines flooded with people who believe that Jim Carrey is a clone just because he looks a little bit different as he's getting older, and it's obvious that anybody with a logical brain who has common sense, who knows a little bit of something about plastic surgery, anybody could tell he just got some plastic surgery done as he's getting older. And again, people are pushing this stuff, and it's just going to make people who are maybe on the sidelines starting to awaken. It's just going to make people think truth is even more crazier, right? Or they're going to think anything else. If you go and start telling them that, oh, Jim Carrey's a clone and all that, they'll probably just end up thinking you're crazy, because maybe at least they have a bit of common sense. And then, then maybe the next thing you tell them, which is true, like, those things are killing people and other things that we know are fact, not conspiracy, they might not believe you. They might think back to that time, oh yeah, but you think Carrey is a clone too, so why should I listen to you, right? My friends, all that I'm saying is please have a bit of discernment. Don't jump to the craziest of scenarios right off the bat. Research things and use a bit of common sense when you're doing this kind of stuff. Now, if you had actual evidence that Jim Carrey was a clone or all these actors are clones, then you could present it. But right now, there's just nothing like that. Okay? And it's really frustrating for me when I see this and it's just popping up on my things. Like, I shouldn't even be wasting my time making a video on this, but here I am doing it, right? But I just thought I gotta set the record straight anyhow. My next video will be an important one, okay? We're gonna be talking about the bubonic plague from the past and how that may have not been something that they're telling you it is, and how we might be about to go through something similar again. Whatever you want to call it, another pandemic or something like that. Plagues, my friends. The 10 plagues. Oh yeah, we're going to be getting into that. The 10 plagues have happened many times throughout history, and history repeats itself. And I'm going to be showing some pretty convincing evidence to push that argument. So that's an important video that people really got to hear, okay? But I figured I'd just make this quick video to clear up all that stuff, because I see it's fooling a lot of people. And to me, it's obvious all that's happened here. And because I was able to tell within 30 seconds. Like, I noticed he looked different, but then I said, you know what? It's probably just plastic surgery. And then I, did a bit more research. My friends, that's it. Just wanted to clear that up. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like I said, this isn't meant to be an attack on anybody who follows me who believed that. Just take it as a learning opportunity to maybe do a little bit more research, before jumping into extreme conclusions that don't have any evidence. And, it's very important we put out real information out there, because there's so much disinformation, there's so much psyops going on, and there's just very little actual real truth out there. So we all got to step up our games and be better, okay? Because at the end of the day, this is just serving as a major distraction. We should be talking about other things than Jim Carrey and his appearance, okay? And spreading out crazy rumors. I'm not saying clones aren't real. I'm not saying that they don't have the technology to do that. Like, I'm sure they do, but it doesn't mean every single celebrity, every single politician, just because there's something slightly different about them, doesn't mean automatically that's what's going on, okay? And unless you have direct, actual evidence, well, then maybe you should explain the most likely scenario first, okay? Which is obvious that it's nothing more than face surgery or Botox, okay? That's it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hit that subscription button if you did, and maybe consider becoming a channel member for exclusive content you don't get anywhere else. All right? And leave a comment down below. Let me know what you guys thought. That's it. Lionel signing off. Stay tuned for the important video that's coming next. It's a reptilian secret leaked on the 10 plagues and the possible return of the plague. That one's going to be wild, okay? Till then, Lionel signing off.